Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Blue Ridge Bonfire podcast. We are mixing things up. Thoughts and prayers with Matt. Nothing's really wrong. He's just in Atlanta today. And we'll be driving back at probably one of the worst possible times. So, yeah, Logan and I, we've been talking about, if you're a continued listener, that's what we'll call it, like different ways to mix this up. So we thought we may do occasionally an episode where it's not the whole crew and maybe a little bit topically different. And this kind of made sense because Logan and I made the trek down to Georgia Bushcraft, and instead of doing like a recap video, which will have like a kind of like a B-roll, maybe a little more in depth about like what we saw, who we saw, like stuff like that. Yeah, Logan, anything else going on? There's a tool sale going on because this episode's going out relatively quickly. So there's a tool sale. So 15% off pretty much all the big items in the tool category. That will not be lasting much longer, less than a week. So don't hesitate if you're wanting to get in on that.
Yeah. Also, the chest rig, the new chest panel we teased, that should be hitting pretty soon.
Yeah,
so if that was something you were interested in, keep watching because that should be coming out.
Yeah, I think next week that's gonna be match priority, getting that figured out. He told me that he actually is gonna have some options for like the different pouches and stuff like that, which will also be the pouch that goes with the Ready Pack on the front. That was included in a lot of the material for that. Yeah, cool.
Are we gonna call that Ready as well?
Maybe the Ready Sling.
The Ready Sling.
The Ready Fanny.
Mm-hmm. What did he call it? He calls it a chest panel. The
yeah.
Ready panel?
The Ready panel. Because it's ready for anything.
It's ready for anything.
Yeah.
Especially for being a panel.
It is. Very paneling-esque, like a house that was built in 87.
Correct.
But
with more structural integrity.
And less asbestos.
Yeah.
No, I think they were past asbestos at that point. So we're going to talk about Georgia Bushcraft mostly. So we went down to the Fall Gathering and Adventure Expo. Always a great time hanging out with Casey and his crew down there. So missed last year. Brandy and I were there the year before, and maybe the year before that, I think. And then I had been down for several. But I have to say, first off, this was Logan's first one. But the thing that struck me was that this thing is absolutely blown up in a good way. I mean, it's still a relatively small event, but like 120 vendors, is that what he said?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, vendors / exhibitors. And then the camping, I could not believe because, I couldn't really say, obviously, last year, maybe the year before, but like I feel like the camping since maybe like 22 has to have doubled. Because when we'll talk about the Ruck Challenge, but when we did the Ruck Challenge, I was shocked at how many people.
Yeah. Also, because it was just the two of us there this year, we didn't really have time to get away and do any of the classes. But just the amount of classes, like I looked at the class list. Being my first time, I was like looking through it, and just there's a wide range.
Like all day long.
Yeah, all day.
4 or 5 classes minimum per hour.
It seemed pretty cool. Like I walked over to a porta potty at one point, and I came back and was like, Rick, I wish I was taking the the falconry class because I did a double take. I was like, oh, that man is holding an owl.
Yeah.
There's an owl right there.
So they do like kind of like a general introduction, but they actually take folks out hunting like on the property for like squirrels with the falcons, with the birds.
Yeah, cool.
One of the reasons I think that I didn't realize how many people were there is we'll start with a real quick recap. Is it took Logan and I 1 million years. I saw the rise and fall of empires.
I didn't have a beard when we started the drive.
Yeah, but when I picked Logan up, I actually saw the rise and fall of multiple countries around the globe. Entire empires and bloodlines. We took almost 9.5 hours to get to just south of Athens, Georgia.
Let's be fair. We got a later start than we wanted already.
But then
it still just took forever.
And then it just took our lunch money. Yeah, because we got out of town a little later than we meant, but that would have still been a 6:30, 7 arrival. We got in almost 9 o'clock, right?
Yeah, it was like 8:30ish.
Yeah.
Around there.
So we did stop and see Sutlers though in Winston-Salem, which you may have seen in Logan's Campfire Cocktails video. Really cool facility. I don't mean this negatively at all. Way smaller than I ever expected.
No, super cool actually. Yeah. Because I don't know if you like spirits and distillery world and everything. There's more of these popping up, but for a long time, I feel like even places that are now distilling would start with bringing in things from MGP or somewhere like that. And so it was cool to go and be like, oh, that's the still. It's not that big. All of these bottles come out of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Obviously, we're in the studio and you can't see this. And if you're listening to audio only, you can't see anything. Hopefully, if you're driving, you can see really well. But like, this section of the studio is kind of like the living room. And then over here is like a similar dining room and kitchen. Like that is probably 80% of their entire facility, like size-wise. Yeah.
Super cool. And they've just been cool guys too. I've talked to a couple of them there, and they don't do normal hours. They do tours that are scheduled, or you can schedule like a private one. But yeah, they're just super cool guys. And I reached out to Scott and said we were driving through, and he's like, "Oh, Evan will be there. Stop by."
Yeah.
So literally, he's in the middle of like setting up the still when we got there, and just kind of gave us a quick tour.
And then worth noting, if you ever stopping at Sutler's Distillery, you have to get lunch right next door.
Yeah, there's good.
What was the name of that place? I mean, it's literally next door, so it's not hard to find. But crazy good tacos.
Yeah.
And like some really unique stuff too. And not like weird unique. Like here's a taco, a street taco, in a deep fried burrito shell.
Yeah.
They call them puffy tacos. In a long list of things that delayed us, if we were going to stop for food, it wasn't that far off the interstate at all. Like we hopped right off. Then we actually had to change our residencies to Spartanburg because we were there so long. I had to go into the post office, get a P.O. box because we were sitting on the interstate so long in Spartanburg. Get some mail forwarded down there. Then we finally rolled into Georgia Bushcraft Thursday night. Casey's crew had kind of wound down for the day, so thanks to them for just letting us get parked. We handled check-in. First off, everybody that came by, I don't know if we actually have any podcast listeners that were there, but if we do, thanks for stopping in and seeing us. Pretty busy weekend. I mean, you and I got away to like take a lap around the vendor area or go grab food, but like you said, really there was no time for classes or anything like that. Yeah. I think the furthest I ventured was the food truck. All right, so I guess we should do a breakdown. So, your input as a first timer down there at Georgia, at the Gathering / Adventure Expo. And then, so we got down late Thursday, hung out with some folks, got the booth halfway set up, got up Friday, finished. And then Friday was just kind of a regular day. I guess the first thing is I have not been there since they have went to 3 raffles, but
we gave away so much stuff.
It's insane.
Good stuff, like nice stuff,
Yeah, no, I mean like 3 nights, well, I guess 2 nights in the morning for Sunday. And like what? The table with prizes that are literally side by side had to have been 50 feet long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean literally it's stuff and a little box for your ticket, stuff, a little box. Like they also let people do a pass beforehand to kind of get a game plan. And we actually got in that line at one point and was like, oh, never mind. Food's more important than seeing the prizes. So we got back out. That was really cool. Something else they added this year was Battle Box sponsored a ruck challenge, like a ruck run. And there were 2 different types. There's like a fun run and the challenge, which Logan and I signed up for. And
we sure did.
First off, we could have totally slept 30 more minutes because we were approximately 15 feet from the starting line.
Yeah.
Like we could have rolled out of bed, put our shoes on, and like got there. Logan, give him a breakdown of the run. And now, just so you guys know, Logan is probably going to say that he didn't do that great. I have not got on Athens Run Club and look at the splits. He had to have been the fastest one out there. The challenge parts may have slowed him up a little bit, but
a little bit.
I bet he passed at least a third of the pack on his last lap.
So the way that the ruck challenge worked was that you started off and you went straight to a simple shot slingshot booth, and you had to take a slingshot, hit a can at how far did you say that was? Not super far.
No, I mean it was probably like, I don't know,
15, 20?
Yeah, 15, 20 feet. I mean, part of the challenge with that was there were 20 of us shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah. So the layout was just that you started at the start line, ran a simple shot, hit that. Then once you hit your can, you ran a lap around the farm, which was a little less than a mile, according to my watch. Yeah. So you do a lap, come back, and then there's a fire starting challenge. That Exotech was the sponsor for that. So you got a ferro rod from them and started a fire, burned through a string. Once you burn through the string, you do one more lap of the farm and back in. And I was fine at the running part and terrible at the other parts because I had never shot a slingshot before.
Here we go.
So I tried to use it like a wrist rocket. I had it upright. After I was the first one there, first one to that booth, and the last one to hit my can. And after the fact, someone was like, "That's not how you use those," which would have been really helpful to have figured out beforehand.
Let's see.
And then the fire starting challenge was, I should have accumulated some more kindling and stuff like that to start with. Rick did great at the fire challenge. For everyone, though, it was a bit of a challenge because we had heavy thunderstorms the night before.
Like
so,
4 solid hours of like downpours.
And the logs that we were using were just out.
Had been set out on Friday, for sure. No, and I actually had to like change up my strategy between like the fact it was soaking wet and then the fact that it was like some of the wood was not great quality. Like I pulled a log and it was like good enough, could not get shavings off of it because there was a big knot. So I just like hogging off like these huge shavings that were 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch thick. And normally I would have something way smaller for a ferro rod, but we used the Wazoo Survival fire cards for our starters, which burned pretty quickly, but burned really hot. And I was like, if I can get these going. And I had a handful of shavings, a fire card, and then that Exotac rod, and it worked really well.
Yeah.
So, and then worth noting, we got to keep the Exotac fire rod and a Simple Shot Scout slingshot.
Yeah.
So even if you didn't win, it was like $70 and stuff, and a t-shirt. And the weirdest hydration gels ever. Those all went in the trash.
Weird. There's some hydrogels. I think it was HydroPack, which I'm not familiar with. From running, I assumed when I see gel that it's like a carb gel, like a fuel.
Yeah.
And no, it's low carb. I think there's like 1 carb. And what I'm really confused by is it was like a hydrating gel, no water required or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just thought water would be the way I would hydrate at that point. And I don't think it even said anything about electrolytes. So I'm just like, did you just solidify water so that I could eat it instead of drinking it? Like,
listen, consistency-wise, I can only describe it as one way, which is super gross, like the powder that's in diapers that turns liquid. But also, it's like Magic Chops have it. So you can do like the trick where you like pour water in a cup. It's like this like gelatinous, kind of chunky gel. And especially it was kind of chilly. It was like, I'll strangle if I like, try to, if we'll at a run, try to like consume this thing. Like there's no way I can swallow this stuff.
Yeah, that was a weird one. But yeah, it was the challenge itself was really fun.
Yeah.
And honestly, like a really cool, like it was, especially because I had been at the booth, it was cool to get a lap around the farm, run through some of the camping, kind of got to see everything that way.
Shout out to the guy that was in front of me on my first lap. There was like one creek bed crossing and, it was pretty steep and pretty muddy and a lot of leaves, and he went full Three Stooges, like whoop, 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 whoop. And I mean, like, he fell for like 5 seconds and then didn't fall.
Yeah.
I ended up getting third. Sheriff John Hill was in front of me, and another guy I didn't know, but I'm curious to see, Battle Rock took down my address, so I'm curious to see what the So then Saturday, mostly hung out at the booth. We'll say really good food. Casey had some fantastic food vendors there. Comfort Farms is a favorite of mine. They've been coming for years. And then actually a friend of Casey's from out on Emerald Isle who owns, let's give a shout out to
Fish Hut.
The Fish Hut. He was there with some guys, and Logan and I got grouper tacos for lunch one day, and they were fantastic.
That was also funny because we were hanging out, and I mentioned something about visiting Emerald Isle. And he was like, "Did you eat anywhere while you were there?" No, I didn't know that he owned a restaurant. And it turns out that he owns the restaurant that my wife and I went to that was like, we would come back to Emerald Isle to go to this fish place. So, yeah, Fish Hut on Emerald Isle if you're there.
Yeah.
Definitely worth. It's the kind of place that's like, seems like a taco truck that has been turned into a, permanent building. But you get in line, the line gets very long. So just know, like, it's a popular place. You get online, and then someone comes and takes cocktail orders, like drink orders, while you're in line.
Yeah.
So, it's a cool spot. And then he was a super friendly guy, and those grouper tacos hit pretty hard.
As the kids would say, they slapped. Yeah, the kids these days.
The kids 5 to 10 years ago, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they're still young people. So yeah, I was just kind of thinking, I can't find the results.
Also, the apple fritter.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know what the name of it was. It was just family-run apple fritter.
They were in the vendor area, which is kind of unusual. Most of the food trucks are out near the entrance.
I got them every day.
Do we only have one a day?
One day we might have had 2.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think they came in packs of 2, and Logan and I split a pack 4 times.
Yeah.
It was just like, I'm assuming mom, dad, son and daughter. They had 2 kids.
Yeah.
And these are the best apple fritters I've ever had.
Yeah,
like
they were great.
Perfectly crispy on the outside, and then on the inside just like super fluffy, donut.
And like chunks of apple, like a lot of apple. Yeah.
They were delicious, for sure. So I may need to figure out like who that was from the vendor list and see if do you guys offer a subscription service, No, they were ridiculously good. Yeah, kind of on that note, just kind of thinking of like, all right, all the vendors and stuff. Sorry, phone is blowing up. The right across from us, Wazoo Survival, Nick and Dustin, love those guys. Known them for a long time. Carry Commission, so Taylor and his crowd was like technically right behind us, so we kind of had like our tent, my truck, Taylor's truck, their tent.
Yeah.
And so it's always good to hang out with those guys. We are just wrapping up a big round of collab bags for them that they're releasing, I think today, like the day this video goes out. So yeah. And then a couple other like Go Reel, Crystal Creek's Go Reel. Logan got to check that out. He had seen me fish with it over at Matt's farm before. But really good to see Kevin and Mike. A ton of good knife makers, like Mikey from LT Wright was there. Oh man, I had way more people in my head up until I started naming them off, and then they just like went away.
Then we had Snow Tracker tents.
Oh yeah, Eli was Snow Tracker, yeah.
Eli, which was cool, and
Empire wool and canvas, yeah, like nice wool and canvas layers. Kevin even launched a new like a wax oilcloth jacket there, yeah. And then Pete Broutgram Expedition Gear makes USA made titanium wares, and I say that because it's like sporks and spoons and tent stakes and buck saws, like the coolest buck saw you've ever seen. Yeah, they were all kind of like in a cold. It was kind of funny, like that the northern contingent had a stripe down there. Bearded Burton was kind of like diagonal from us with Craig there, and I know they had some really good turnouts for some of their like classes and demonstrations that were at their tent.
Also playing some good music around the campfire.
Yeah, led a worship service on Sunday. He played around the campfire. Easy Win Outfitters was down at the like other end of our aisle with the Dry Fox Co. That we see quite a bit at overlanding events.
Yeah, I mean it was a ton. Those are most of the ones that came to my mind.
Yeah,
right away.
Merriweather. Mark Merriweather, foraging guy from Texas. Texas Foraging has a great website. Really knowledgeable guy. A whole bunch of folks.
And it was cool because it was, not a big event by a lot of standards, but there's a good crowd like that showed up at the, when the raffles were happening or events in the evening, but it still was small enough that like I don't know, one night we were hanging out right after the raffle and it's like somebody made tacos, I made cocktails.
For sure.
Hang out and chill and,
a couple more. We met Josh from Paladin Gear. We met Brantley from
Big Idea
Design, which had big fan of their work. They're in Chattanooga, everyday carry, EDC kind of stuff. Like they've got a little bit of everything, pins, watches, stuff like that. But they do really cool work with a really small team. There was a ton. I can't think of their name, but they were right down from us. They had the really slick FJ Cruiser trail team.
Oh yeah,
that was a really nice truck.
Yeah, I think that was an interesting thing because it's not an overlanding event. We were really the only people there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there were other rigs.
Yeah, because like Nick had his like off-road camper trailer, right across from us at Wazoo. But like we're the only brand with Overland in the name, and there was definitely some like varying levels of builds.
Yeah,
like I saw a pretty cool Gladiator like out in the parking area right next to the finish line for the challenge. But
so I thought it was interesting because we had a lot of people walk by and ask questions about Rick's truck.
Yeah,
which I think is interesting because you definitely can see why there could be more overlap. A lot of these people are more survivalist leaning kind of people. So even if it's not a full build, like I was thinking about some of our stuff, like we should find some ways to repurpose, like maybe the tool roll or something like that.
Yeah.
For the event to be like, hey,
Like a
you
camp
leave
roll.
this in your car.
Yeah.
All your survival stuff's in
Yeah.
here. If you know.
No, for sure.
It just feels like there's definitely
seat back panels. These people all were gear nerds.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you got everything there from like primitive, the Bearded Burton was leading a like flint knapping class at his tent. To you've got like super high end knife guys to like full on like prepper. You know, so you've got like primitive skills to prepper, everything in between. I mean, Pete's stuff with Brock Graham, which I had to slaughter the name of his company every single time. You know, like really well done titanium wares. So yeah, a little bit of everything, but like they all have gear. So like seat back panels, gear organization.
Yeah.
Now, as much as people ask about my truck and Taylor's truck, I have to say that I've never in my life needed to find a reason to have a hot tent more than I needed to find a reason to have a hot tent after hanging out with Eli and Meriwether in Eli's tent, like he was sleeping in, like he had some stuff on display. We went down Saturday night, hung out with him a little bit, Nick and Meriwether and I, and he had just got the fire going in the stove. I was in there 30 seconds. I didn't necessarily feel cold or damp before I got in there, but could literally feel the moisture like leaving me, you know, because it had rained the night before. It was just, it's humid, it's Georgia. Like I was drying out actively sitting there. Like, yeah.
That's a piece that we didn't mention. The weather was not terrible. Like I've camped in worse weather.
Yeah. Thankfully it was terrible at night.
Yeah.
Like,
but I will say that was one of the just grosser feeling camping situations I've done in a while.
Yeah.
It was like every night when I got in the tent, I was like, I just don't want to touch anything.
Yeah.
Everything's so damp. We were sitting one of the nights of the raffle, and I was like, I'm at a temperature where I feel like I should put a jacket on, but the idea of trapping the slime against myself sounds horrible.
Yeah, I don't know if I felt that gross, but like it definitely didn't feel dry.
Yeah.
But no, Eli had 8x8 hybrid hot tent, so nylon and canvas panels, like depending on wear and tension and proximity of the fire, and then like I think it was kind of a generic, packable wood stove, and he was burning those like compressed wood logs. Because he said they suggest that a lot because A, they're really easy to cut down to length, and then B, you don't get any trouble about like invasives and carrying wood across state lines. No worries with that.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
And he had just lit that thing, and it was like you stepped in and was like you could feel it. So I need a reason to own a hot tent. Like I even thought about maybe just out in our woods, like building a deck for it and like seasonally putting one out there.
Yeah, no, that'd be fun.
I feel like when KJ gets another year on him or two, he would love to just like go out, start the fire, sleep in the tent, but then we need a bail out plan where, a couple 100 yards. That was really cool. Snow Trekker, family owned, been making tents for like 33 years. It's like literally Eli and his brother are kind of taking it over from their parents now. Trying to think of other like really cool stuff that we saw. Honestly, just get on the Georgia Bushcraft site and look at the vendor list, because knife companies, there were so many there, including several I hadn't heard of before. I guess they've kind of like got in the mix this year / last year when we didn't go down. Yeah,
actually, the first knife vendor that we stopped at were guys that I don't think you knew them, right? They were the guys with the FJ, and I know nothing about the quality of them, like as in I've not used one, but they were some of my favorite looking knives, like size, shape, interesting, like bone handle on a couple of them.
No, they were really well done, really like some interesting handle materials like the camel bone. And I like too that he had like camel bone across like all 4 or 5 models that he had. So
that's just to say like that's a new one that Rick's pretty in knife world. And that seemed to be nice stuff. 2 booths down from us.
No, for sure. Yeah. A lot of cool stuff. Got to see the team from Essie. A good chunk of the team was there, showing off knives and talking about classes and stuff. And actually, Jeff Randall was like, "When are you going to make it back down?" I was like, "Jeff, it's a lot further drive than it used to be. Like, I'm 5 hours from where it used to be 6 hours." So they're in like central Alabama, but would highly suggest anybody like looking for like a land nav class or like high ropes classes, like single rope technique class, to check them out. Randall's Adventure Training. Yeah, no, it's a really cool event. One thing that I thought was really interesting, kind of going back to the Ruck Challenge, is like I was down there in March for a class with James Gibson, one of the Essie instructors, and Casey had just been working on cleaning out like the woods with the forestry mulcher so he could have more like forest camping. There were a lot of people in the woods. Like I had no clue until we ran the laps on the Ruck Challenge. There was, there was a couple hundred trucks like, in the woods camping. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We had like the kids section back there that I didn't know until we ran through.
Yeah. Like the full on like jungle gym climbing net. Like Casey is even like 3D printed glow in the dark mushrooms that he's like screwed onto trees. So like, like that area is like kind of like marked off as a boundary. Yeah, it's really cool. What was the coolest thing you saw at Georgia Bushcraft?
Coolest thing.
I mean, it could be
there's categories. That's hard. I didn't even go in it, but the snow tracker tents were really cool. I think they just kind of stand out amongst everything else that was there. Gear. I'm trying to think like gear wise what I saw. I mean, honestly, I'm not a tactical guy, and I'm also not like primitive survival-y kind of guy either. Honestly, the Wazoo stuff, like I have one of their foraging bandanas that I leave in my bag, but like most of their stuff is the first time I'm seeing it in person. You've shown me some of it. It was like, oh yeah, the pocket hat, like is
the cash
I would
hat,
wear that.
cash cap. Yeah,
that would make sense for just most people. Just travel, like,
or even you like running. You could keep. They've got a little ceramic knife that will strike a ferro rod and some like fire starter. I used to.
So their stuff definitely was like, oh, I would use most of this.
Yeah. And I wear their cash belt every single day. And it's one of those things. We were talking to Nick. Like it's never saved my life, but it definitely has made some situations way less inconvenient. Like on a fishing trip one time with some buddies, we went way further. Like the fishing was on, and it was like we knew we were going to camp like one stream up. We're like, let's stop at this stream and fish a while. We ended up fishing like 5 miles, and it also ended up being a little warmer than we expected. So we're like, crap, we have to hike 5 miles back out. And I was the only one with a water bottle, which we had realized we could kind of split the water. But I had purification tablets in the cash belt, Twice I've used a zip tie out of the cash belt to fix my sandals. When my Bedrock sandals blew out a buckle, the same buckle on both is now broken. I've helped people just the zip ties obviously are infinitely handy. It's an easy way to have a few on you. And then I had another one. I had another really good use case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't remember what it was. Oh, Brock in the Land Rover.
Yeah.
Brock's throttle control kind of like assembly came apart right as he was pulling in the shop. And shockingly, we had no wire thin enough to go with through the hole where the pin was at. So boom, the little thing of brass wire that's in the cache kit.
As you walk around, there were tons of cool, specific, useful things at a lot of booths. Like there were multiple knives or tools that I was like, oh, that'd be handy. I will say the Carry Commission booth is just like, as far as just cool stuff, it's curated and it's like you're like, all of these look awesome. The knives look great. They have some nice wallets. They have some of our stuff.
Some bum bags. Yeah, no, the snow trackers were really cool. Pete's gear, I'm a titanium nerd. I brought a couple of like his mini spoons and sporks back, and then he makes a tiny set of tweezers that's like in a 3D printed sheath that are like razor sharp. And we already had one set of those. I grabbed 2 more just to stick in kits. All right, so not snow tracker. It would probably be frivolous to say fritters. The apple fritters were really good.
I mean, honestly, it sounds like he's still kind of dialing it in, but the Empire wool. The oilcloth. I was like, I could see myself keeping that around.
Yeah, because the oilcloth, if you're not familiar, is like kind of old technology, but like it's kind of foolproof. So it's like it's not necessarily waxed. It's an oil base, but it's infinitely retreatable. The idea being when it warms up, it literally like opens up the pores, so it breathes better than when it's cold. Then they swell, they close up, they constrict. He has like some really cool stuff, like the zipper's the last thing to go in, so it's like infinitely repairable. So if you like blow out a zipper, it's a seamstress, anybody can put a zipper back in. It's really unique pockets, like gamekeeper style, like front pouch, like they don't go into the jacket, they're on the exterior, oversized for layers and pit zips, like kind of a very traditional raincoat meets a lot of features of like a very high-tech raincoat.
No, that was cool. It's just kind of cool to walk around and see people that have backpacks that are baskets, like hand-woven or different handmade knives. Like, where else have I ever been that like we were hanging out one night and people were just like, I made this one.
Yeah, like James Gibson was there with a kudzu basket backpack that he had made in a class that he had told me about, and I saw a lady carrying one. And it's a really distinctive style, and I told him, it's like, for sure somebody else is here that made a backpack with Dahlia. She's in West North Carolina, and like it's like traditional backpack basket making, but using kudzu, which is like an infinite resource. Yeah, no, and I actually didn't get a chance to talk to him, but there was like a hammock company, 2, War Bonnet and another one there. I've got a War Bonnet hammock that's got to be 10 years old. So really cool stuff. Not gonna lie, I've been taking some pot shots at like random things that I call a target with the slingshot since we got the slingshot. Got a big old bag of clay ammo from Simple Shot. So yeah, it was a good time for sure.
It's very different in some ways, but the overall like the tone of it reminded me more a little of like Adventure X Fest. Like it was people there who are all kind of into doing cool stuff and hanging out for the weekend.
Yeah, and like people doing stuff constantly. Like there was forging classes, there were, all kinds of like hour-long classes throughout the weekend. Like Carly led like a 2-hour-long like cattail basket making class. Yeah, no, a lot of really cool stuff for sure.
Also walked around their store there the last day. Lots of just cool like merch and stuff, honestly.
Because Casey kind of moves a bunch of stuff from his store that's in Watkinsville, Outpost Oconee, over to like a house that's on the property where they've got a kitchen, people get coffee and stuff. And then he you had on your backpack. He does such great jobs with his patches. Like if you guys are just looking for some cool patches, I grabbed a sticker this year for one of my cases, but like he has some really cool stuff.
Well, anything else? Are there any of our like segments we should revisit? I feel like we did a pretty good job recapping.
Yeah, no, I don't think I got anything right off the top of my head. The jerky will return. Brandy found some jerky that was so bad. We expected it to be really good I won't spoil anything, where it came from, and like general look, and then both of us were like, ooh, this is gross. So I'm going to make Matt try that when he gets back on our next episode.
That's the week that I should bring vegan jerky.
Oh, there we go.
Because then in comparison...
Right, yeah. That's true. It's like 2 millimeters thick. It is like cardstock texture, and it has like oddly no taste. So it's like kind of an unpleasant texture. It's very crispy, which we both thought we would like, but it just kind of goes away to nothing. Yeah,
that doesn't sound good.
No, it's weird. It's like meat cardboard in both appearance and in taste. We're kind of getting into like holiday categorical sales, so keep an eye out. Tools is currently rolling. I think vehicles going to be coming up after this, which almost everything we make is in that category. One update, I'm sure this will come back up. So have been having a couple of like issues with my truck battery. I've talked about on here before how I really should just get a NOCO. Well, obviously at this event, we were trying to get out of there quickly for the long drive back. I needed a jump. Like my truck just wouldn't start, which was weird because we started it the day before to charge up like the EcoFlow and some other stuff. It ran for an hour, no problem. And went to start on Sunday, nothing. Nick from Wazoo had a NOCO over in vendor parking, saved my butt. Went and picked one up yesterday. So now I am a proud owner of a NOCO.
Yeah, I guess vehicle stuff. I've now had the rooftop tint out a couple times.
Yeah.
And then also after OAR, I picked up the small Dometic fridge and EcoFlow there, and I've got to use that. I used that setup camping before the race 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
And
which we'll talk about those athletic endeavors on the next episode.
Yeah. But it was very handy.
No. Really nice. Did you guys use the fridge like driving back up from Atlanta? Logan hung around for a few days.
I didn't. I actually told Lindsay that if she wanted to, she could bring it down, but we were staying with friends, so there was no real reason for it. If we had taken my car, I probably would have thrown some stuff in there, but for her, she hadn't used it, so for her to grab the EcoFlow,
and she didn't bring the Rover down. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, cool.
The Rover is not currently having any problems, but it's still the type of thing that I'm like, maybe you shouldn't drive it all the way to Atlanta.
Yeah, that's a valid point. Yeah. Rover doing Rover stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we got. Matt will be back with us in the next episode, assuming he's not still on his way back from Atlanta. It shouldn't take more than 2 weeks to get back. And as always, thanks for watching, and we will catch you in 2 weeks.